Hey, hello everybody. Came in a little bit too premature right there, but hello everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Linda Murray Bullock. They call me the Business Plug, and you've tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer that comes on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So go ahead. You're going to love this conversation I have for you all today. Did you miss me from last week? I didn't come last week because things were last week was rough. But in any case, I'm here this week, and I'm going to be here every week I can. Sundays at 7 to tell you about business conversations, having business people come on for business people. And today is no difference. Today we're talking about finances. Finance. Yeah, we've gotten through the tax season. Some of us are still in it because we have extensions or whatever. But we've passed, the April 15th thing. So it's still time to start thinking about money. It's time to start thinking about finances and projections and planning and all the things that have to do with the lifeblood of our businesses. So today, my guest, I am so glad she's on. We're going to have a conversation. Before we get to that, I need to tell you two things. If you want to be on the Business Plugs Mixer, the link is wherever you're watching this. And if you are needing to have your business assessed, let's say you feel stuck because you don't know which way to go. You just like, I keep doing things, and it's like I'm spinning in circles. I'm spinning in the same place. I'm on a hamster wheel, right? You're doing a lot of things, but you're not getting a lot of results. Well, I am helping business owners find financing, find capital. That's what we're doing. I'm showing them how to build strong infrastructures so that way they have access to grants, to contracts, and to investors. So that's what I'm doing. And it's called the 360 Business Assessment. Yeah, if you need a 360 business assessment, that link is also to schedule an appointment with me. And let's talk about how we can get your business to go next level. With all that said and done, it is time for me to bring my guest on the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Donna Case. Hey, Donna.
Hey there. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, great. We're so glad you're here. So, Donna, please tell my audience, who is Donna Cates?
Well, I am Southern born, and I have been working as a financial advisor for 25 years. And what makes me a little bit unique from most financial advisors is that I have a passion for working with women, empowering them to take control of their finances so that they can thrive through any life transition.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So, how did you get your start?
I literally started this was my second career. So I left the business that I was in prior because I got married, and the gentleman that I was marrying lived in another city. So I had to leave my corporate job and relocate from Atlanta to Birmingham, Alabama. And when we did that, I just made a career transition, and I had someone that approached me and said, have you ever thought about being in the financial advisory world? I think you'd be really good at it. And honestly, Linda, it's not something I would have chosen for myself. I'm not good at math. Sorry to say, but we can do this work without having that knowledge because of all of the brilliant technology that we have. But it did open my eyes to an opportunity to be able to educate and have an impact on a lot of people. And that's what really drew me into that world.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is a lot of people think you have to be brilliant, right? That you have to have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, when in fact, there are people that are more advanced than us, but there are so many people that aren't even as advanced as we are. And so staying two steps ahead of the people you're trying to teach works wonders. It's all the reason why you don't have to be a mathematician, a math genius to do this work. Like I teach GED math. so and
Okay.
I used to, before I got the job, I used to say, "Oh, I hate math. It's of the devil." but I don't say that anymore, and I don't allow my students to say it either. We say that math challenges us, and that
I love
math
it.
causes us to grow. It's causing us to grow. So you started doing this work because someone said, "Hey, you'd be good at it." Isn't it amazing how people see what you don't see?
It is amazing. And I'm so grateful that people voice that as well, that they're willing
Yeah,
to share it when they see it.
absolutely, absolutely. So going from that, you've been doing this for 25 years. What
Mhm.
have you learned, or what would you say that you wish you had known when you started? What one thing?
Ooh, okay, this is a big one because I started 25 years ago working in the corporate broker dealer area. So
Hmm.
think about that. So we're talking in the year 2000. And at that point, the financial services industry, or specifically the investment world, was 15% female, the
Mm,
rest male. So male dominated.
yep.
And that environment was not really conducive to the way that I operate. So I literally found myself kind of squishing myself inside this corporate box, that
Mm,
I had a stereotype that I had to fit into. And it was kind of soul crushing. But the thing is, and this is getting to the answer, to your question, is that I didn't realize it. I didn't know any better. So it wasn't until 2.5 years ago that I recognized that there was much greater opportunity and there was a world out there for me to start and do my own thing and
yeah,
create my own platform. So I
yeah.
didn't have to fit in that box anymore.
I know it.
So that, my message would be, to be open, be curious. Don't feel like you've got to stay stuck, and just be bold and do different things.
Absolutely. Hard things, right? Because I
Right.
can imagine getting started, for anyone, going outside of your comfort zone and doing something brand new is hard.
It is.
It is hard, but we're all capable and we have the ability to do hard things. And
We
so
just
I
have to believe in ourselves and take that first step, even if it's a baby step. One baby step, then the next, and where you know it, we're doing it.
absolutely, and that's that I teach business owners startups using the Kaufman fast track, but I always tell them, like when it's their first business, they're kind of timid, kind of introverted, and they're like, "Ooh, this is different. Feels different," and it does to be an entrepreneur because you're talking about helping people understand finances, and a lot of people are afraid of the numbers. I used to teach for a group of people, and they would put at that time the curriculum had the finance in like week 3, or it was an 8 to 10 week course. I forget how long, but in any case, they had week 3. We would come in and learn about finances, and the people wouldn't come back. 3 weeks in the program, they were like, "Oh, the first 2 weeks, oh, I love this. Is exactly what I need." And then we go through the finance, and they walk out like zombies, and they they didn't come back because it's frightening.
It
It's
is. And
frightening.
the thing that we know is that we learn what we need to learn to know what we don't know, so
Yeah.
that we can go hire the professionals that can help us with that. We don't have to wear all the hats.
No, no, no. Having a basic understanding, and that's what the course does, is you understand what is a cash flow statement. You understand what is a balance sheet. You understand what is a profit and loss, statement. Knowing those 3 basic ones, and then meeting somebody like you that's okay, I know the names. Now help me understand how I influence it. Like that's where your people like you who are the wizards out here in the financial world come in, because I give them a general sense, but you all go deep dives and can help them walk through and actually establish a financial plan.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's the deep dive stuff. I'm on the top of the trees over here. I'm in the airplane giving them 35,000 feet. I can tell you what it is, but go to somebody who's a professional that's going to get in the weeds with you. But yeah, so how important is it for women, particularly, to have a financial plan?
I'm going to tell you, I think it's one of the most important things in the world. And I hope that your listeners will hear my heart when I say this. It's not an if we're going to be on our own, women. it's when. So if you recognize the fact, some of us choose to be on our own,
Yeah.
but for those of us that are married, it's again, we are either going to be divorced because 50% of the marriages end in divorce, 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and we women, we typically outlive men. So what I find in my experience, I used to think this was just a Southern thing, but I've discovered otherwise. It's universal around the U.S. Women, regardless of how smart we are, even if we love math, we literally play second fiddle when it comes to managing our own household financial well-being. And it's not a criticism for anybody, because I think the reality is we all have so much on our plates, Linda, that if our partner likes to do that stuff, if the partner wants to manage the 401k, we're like, whoo, yay, thank you, do it.
Exactly.
What happens is if we don't have a seat at the table and we don't have an understanding of what's going on, when that life happens, now we're kind of deer in the headlights and caught totally unprepared. So that's, my position is literally helping women, have a say in the conversation. They don't have to be running the train, but they do need to understand all the moving parts and have a relationship with somebody that can help guide them. So that's my answer, is everybody needs a financial plan. And oh, by the way, it's not a one and done, because life happens and things happen from one year to the next. So being in that long-term relationship is extremely valuable.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. Just went to a Mother's Day dinner with my best friend, and we were talking about, we were like, all of us at my church, like there are like 6 of us who are widowed.
Right.
Like we've outlived the men. And you don't think about that, but all of us have outlived our significant others. And so what does that look like? I was talking to a young lady, and she was talking about, my husband died. And I think I was telling you earlier, my husband died and I didn't know how to do anything. He did all the finances. He paid all the bills. He made sure the house ran smoothly. Like he did all the repair work, or he hired the repair guy, or whatever needed to be done. He did it. And she felt lost when he passed suddenly. And so I can imagine she's not by herself.
And it is so true, because again, it's not a judgment on women. We're totally capable. We just choose for whatever reason not to do that. So I think my call to action for anybody is, at least get engaged and understand, what your financial household looks like. You don't have to be expert at it, but I think it's really imperative that where are the wills? Where do we store them? Where's the life insurance? We don't have life insurance. What about, I think I mentioned this earlier, the combination to the safe in the garage.
Passwords, period. Right?
Absolutely.
Passwords to the bank, passwords to accounts that you're going to have to be responsible for. Like, because a lot of us have, we do business pretty much online now. And all that requires passwords.
And if we don't have something recorded somewhere, then everything's just going to be frozen for some time, and it's going to add. You're already suffering tremendous grief. Now your emotional well-being is going to go down the tube even more, because you're so frustrated over not being able to handle the day-to-day financial stuff.
Absolutely. And it's very important. A part of, so you have your physical health, your spiritual health, but your financial health too is just as important as the first two. So making sure that you are going to be okay financially, because it's not good. This system, the American system, is not set up to support people who are not financially accurate.
Well, and this is an interesting thing too, because I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting money up there as important as our faith, but I will tell you this. this world operates on money, and a lot of people, a lot of women, we have guilt around money. We have shame around money.
We've been
We,
taught that. Yeah.
it's kind of like we don't want to appear greedy.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that I help women understand is that it's okay to build wealth, because building wealth is going to allow you to put good back out into the world. It's going to give you the freedom to make smart choices for you and your family. It's going to allow you to provide for your family. It's going to allow you to provide for all of the philanthropy that you want to do. So, we have to kind of get over, whatever our money mindset is, and know that everybody has a money story, because we're brought up the way that we're brought up.
Yeah.
That impacts how we act around money, how we manage it, how we spend it, how we waste it, all of the things. So
Yeah, and that's what I mean by the importance of like things that should be in order. Because the thing about it is, not to say that you got to love money. This is not that. This is like being aware, being cognizant of your financial health. Because
absolutely.
again, you have to live. You have to, you need what your needs are. And so, not talking about, well, I'm going to store up all this money and I'm going to be a lover of money, because even the Bible says, it's the love of money that is evil, not to have money. But some of us have been raised to believe rich people don't go to heaven,
Mhm.
and all the things about money, like money is bad, like you shouldn't have money. And you take the story about the man that had all the wealth and he was just storing things up. Well, that was about greed. That whole lesson was about greed. It was not about seeing that your needs are met. And that's the difference in that. The difference is you need to make sure, like the onus is on us to make sure that we're doing well. At the end of the day, there's no cavalry, there's no man on a white horse.
Well, behavior, right? Mm-hmm.
There's none of that we're not Cinderella, not somebody's not going to come ride on the horse and save us. Like none of that. So we have to be very aware of what our financial health is, and we have to have goals. If we're not where we need to be, then we need to do something about that. It will not fix itself.
And that's what takes us back to the whole concept of financial planning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that you already have to have a lot of wealth to do that, but this is the reality. A financial plan, when you sit down and say, okay, today I'm going to get a handle on this, we start by defining where you are today. So we would take your household, whether it's just you or you and a spouse, one of you working, both of you working. We're going to figure out, what do you have coming into the household? What's it costing you to live? What are you saving? What have you already saved? What do you have investment wise? What kind of protection do you have in place? So we look at all of those pieces. And here's the important part. Nobody's going to tell you whether what you have is right or wrong. What someone that's in my position is going to do is talk to you about what your priorities are. What's most important to you? Do you want to have the choice to make work optional versus working until the government says you should start taking Social Security at age 67? That means you've got to, if you've got a plan, if you've got a goal, now we have something to measure against. We can look at what you're doing today and say, is what I'm doing and the way I'm saving and spending today going to allow me to achieve this goal, whether that's a year from now, 5 years from now, or 20 years from now? So that's what we're doing, is we're figuring out your priorities. And once we know those priorities, we do the number crunching and we come back and say, hey, you're on track. Or, oops, we might need to look at things a little differently. Then we start making recommendations that are going to be appropriate to help you solve the issues that are important to you. It's not my story. It's not what's important to me. It's all about what's important to you and what you want to make happen and when you would like to have that happen.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is beginning with the end in mind. I am a fan of Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And my favorite, my favorite one of the habits that he gives is the one that says begin with the end in mind. And so I think in everything that we do, if we, even when people are starting business, I tell them, what is your exit strategy? And they're like, oh, Linda, White, an exit strategy. I just started. And because everything that you do should work toward what you think the end should be. And so I love that. I love that whole principle of that because it works and it helps you to see the fruit of your efforts. Yeah.
And if you don't know where you're going, how do you ever know if you're going to get there?
Exactly. I love that. Yes. And it's just thinking smarter. When I talk to some of the people who finance and who support small businesses, and they say, I am blown away when women come in and they actually have their numbers. I am blown away that they even understand them because so many, it may be stereotypical, but they don't expect women to know.
And that's sad. And that's what we're working to change because we want women to, to be knowledgeable and to take the bull by the horn and make things happen.
Absolutely. And people like yourself who are explaining it in layman's terms make that mountain into a molehill. Like you break it down.
Well, and I have to say this to your comment about layman's terms. I will tell you that remember that this has primarily been a male-dominated industry. I can't tell you the number of women that come to me looking specifically for a relationship with a female financial advisor because they're so tired of being talked down to by the male advisors or totally ignored by that male financial advisor.
Yeah.
So to me, listening is the biggest thing. We've got to be heard, as women. And then in using layman's terms, not talking above, I'm not going to talk in the language that, a finance major would use because that's not your wheelhouse. So, speaking in a language that you can understand and relate to is just going to make you smarter and help you make smarter decisions.
Exactly. And then that's the thing is, taking big things and putting them in snackable chunks so that people can understand it is the major thing. Because a lot of this stuff, I help people with contracts and grants and, getting all these, their government access locally and state and federal and all those things. And the language is not always friendly.
Correct.
To the average person. And in financing, the language is not always friendly. And so that's the thing is, I think people fear it because it seems way out here, right? But then making a conversation with you could help it bring it in and narrow the ends a little bit so they can understand what and be smarter. Like just be a smarter person when it comes to their financial health. That's the whole outcome. That's the whole expectation.
And I'll tell you that it's funny because when you even said the word contract, Linda, I kind of cringed. Oh my God, just having to read a contract is enough to unnerve me, right?
I get it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so teaching them about all the different tools to help with that. Again, having conversations with you and who should be looking for you? Who should be clicking the links to connect with you now?
I will tell you that my doors to my business are open to anybody that wants to make smart decisions about their money. That's the number one qualifier. You have to be engaged and open to having a conversation. Doesn't really matter how much money you have today. A lot of brokerage firms say, I only want to work with you if you have over $500,000 or what have you. That's not the case with me, but you do have to be committed to making smart decisions about your money and being engaged and open to getting recommendations and taking action. So primarily I'm working with women who are 35 to 80 years old, anywhere in that range. I'm working with women who are building their careers and figuring out where they want to go. I'm working with women who are getting ready to retire. And then I'm working with women who are post-retirement, where they're turning all of that income and the savings that they've made over the course of their career into a retirement income. And then, Linda, another one that I want to mention is my unique group of women that I support, and that's women that are divorcing and women who are newly widowed. Now, those are two areas where there are unique financial challenges, and we want to provide support to women in those situations. So I definitely, I actually offer free monthly workshops for divorcing women. And then I do one-on-one meetings with women who are newly widowed when the time is appropriate.
I love it. I love it. And so clicking and making the appointment with you, then they can actually get the conversation and get it started like as soon as they reach out, right?
Absolutely. I offer what I refer to as a discovery call. And I call it that because I'm going to discover what your needs are and learn about what's important to you. And then you're going to discover about me, my personality, whether I'm approachable, whether I intimidate you or not, and just the type of work that I do. And I explain to you the work that I do and how I do that work. But it's an opportunity for both of us to engage and see, would we make a good fit? Is this something worth pursuing? And if so, we take that next step. If not, no feelings hurt. We gave it a try and it wasn't right. But you don't know if you don't make the phone call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm not intimidated. I wasn't intimidating in the garden. We had a great conversation, in fact. And thank you. You allowed me to be on your podcast. So thank you so much for that. And I enjoyed that time we had. And I enjoyed this time too. So thank you for your yes, for coming on the Business Plugs Mixer. What one thing or 1 to 3 things you want someone who's watching this video, this interview, to take from it?
I would love for you to know that you have to take responsibility for yourself because nobody else can do it for you. You need to have a plan. It's not just going to happen. It's kind of like if you get in the car to go on vacation, you don't just hop in the car and go. You literally, where you're going, when you're going, how much it's going to cost you. So having that plan is essential. And then having the courage to ask for help. It's not a negative thing. And regardless of where you are, there's no judgment. Even if you're just getting started or if you feel like you're getting started too late, it's never too late. We've got to get the plan rolling so that we can play catch up if it's necessary. But I think, stepping up and saying, I want to be informed. I'm not going to wait and let somebody else make financial decisions for me. And my tagline is, I'm helping with women make smart decisions about their money because a man is not a financial plan.
I like
so
it.
Hopefully if that resonates with you, give me a call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And her contact information is wherever you're watching this. If you're watching the replay, then please put #replay. If you have questions and you didn't make it to the live broadcast, which most people don't, then go ahead and ask your questions and we'll get back to you. We'll make sure that you get a response to whatever questions you have. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. I just plugged you into finances with Donna Cates. If you are needing her services, go ahead and click the link to connect with her. You can get all her social media, all her contacts on this video, wherever you're watching it, or in the description if you're listening to it on Spotify. We thank you for joining the Business Plugs Mixer. We're here every Sunday at 7-ish. So everyone have a great week. We'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.